Good evening and a very warm welcome to you. 24 hours overdue, but a warm welcome nonetheless to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. My name is Tonchi Prusak. Let's fingers crossed that he's still not stranded by Jetstar tonight. No, he's made it back in time. Ante Grabovac, at the moment, not Jetstar's favourite fan. Bloody Jetstar. How are you, mate? Stranded last night. Where were you stranded, by the way?
Stranded down in your state, mate. And it was just, fortunately, safety is the number one concern. So they did a great job. And I didn't come in until about 9 p.m. last night. So it would have been too late to start a show by then.
I tell you what, when I got the word, panic set in, and I was in a very distressed state when I heard that Ante Grabovac is stranded, and then we had one of our guests who was flu-ridden. Oh my gosh, it was all happening last night, and luckily, speaking of our guests, boy, are we really making up for it tonight? We're going to have not one but two guests from the organising committee of the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament joining us a little later on in the show. Ante, tell us who those guests are.
Yes, we've got STANKO, ZILIC and STELA SPOLJAR from Adelaide, giving us a few, I think, exclusives and a few things that they haven't released yet. So we're really looking forward to that. And cannot wait for the tourney in Adelaide. So it will be really exciting. So really looking forward to speaking to STANKO and STELA later on.
Yeah, some of the exclusives have already been made public. Some of them definitely have not been made public. And tonight we will be making something. Well, we won't be, Ante, but STELA and STANKO definitely will be making something very public. Big scoop, big announcement regarding the tournament. So, folks, make sure that you hang around to the very, very end. Now, waiting 24 hours was probably a bit of a master stroke, because so much has happened in football in the last 24 hours that involves both Australian, Croatian and Croatian clubs as well. Obviously, we'll be talking a little bit later on about all of that stuff in the news desk, but we've got a huge show coming up tonight. Now, next week as well, because we've got another, a commitment on the Wednesday night. Sydney United are involved in an Australia Cup clash on Wednesday night. And Ante, you tell me as well, up north there, it's the state of origin of that sport. So there's a lot of New South Welsh people, and you can't call them Welshmen anymore, can you? It's Welsh people, New South Welsh people, and Queenslanders will be otherwise engaged. And dare I say, it's the one time of the year that the Victorians jump on the bandwagon and start watching the game, looking for that little bit of biffo. But, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, folks, next week we will be coming to you live on the Thursday night as well. So next Thursday we'll be coming live with our episode 9 of Season 2. I can't believe it's already episode 8 of our second season. Has gone quick. And, folks, if your club would like to sponsor an upcoming episode of the Oz Cro Soccer Show, contact us now. Right now, there's an email right down there, ozcrosoccershow@gmail.com, or call us on 0402 012 716. But don't call us now because we're on the show. We're not going to answer, of course. But
I keep the messages coming through already. Robert Chop, Tony Chavar, and Petar Finka already are messaging. So, keep those coming through. And, yes, Petar, we will be talking about that particular item a bit later on in the show.
That we will be. Okay, folks, don't go away. We'll be back very, very shortly, straight after this. we've got the news desk. We're going to get into it right after this break. Don't go away, folks. It is the Oz Cro Soccer Show, and it's episode 38.
Welcome to Zaprešić Studio Architecture. Our approach combines modern design with harmonious solutions tailored to your unique needs. We listen closely to your vision and turn it into a functional, beautiful living environment that truly feels like home. Our designs cater to your needs and evolve with you over time, encouraging deeper connections with family and friends. Specializing in custom residential homes and boutique apartments, we balance luxury and comfort to create a welcoming atmosphere for everyone to enjoy. Discover a world of inviting and captivating design at www.zaprešićstudio.com.au. Contact us for a journey from idea to reality. Zaprešić Studio Architecture, turning your dreams into reality.
That intro always makes me laugh,
I love
don't you? But anyway, yeah, it's awesome.
You're bopping away, yeah. You know what the problem is? The only problem is at night after the show, so you're still on a bit of a high. Obviously, the adrenaline's pumping, and I've got that tune. I'm in bed and kicking the soccer ball. It turns out to be
We're
my
going to
wife.
do the old match of the day, tune. Anyway,
Anyway. Off we get with the news. Let's talk about the news. Auntie, what's happening in the world of Oz Cro Soccer news?
Yeah, let's start it with the Australia Cup because, of course, the last couple of nights we've had some huge action all around the country. Last night, it was Gold Coast, their turn, and Gold Coast Knights defeated Brisbane City 4-2. It was 1-1 at full time, and then in extra time, the scores and the goals actually came racking up, and so well done that they advance on to the next stage. On Tuesday night, Taunchi, I tuned in to MPL TV and I listened to the dulcet tones of your very good self. Very entertaining. Great job there at North Geelong's home ground. And of course, North Geelong lost to St. Albans in that particular match by 1-0. It was a goal in the first half. Taunchi, tell us a bit more about the game.
Well, St. Albans Dynamo are North Geelong's only scalp at Alco Park this year. And they lost 1-0 in the league about 3 weeks ago. But this time, Dynamo turned the tables on North Geelong and were able to win 1-0. It was only one goal, and it was a howler. It really, really was unfortunate. Standing goalkeeper Seth Scooter, only a young fella. He's come up through the junior ranks, and then last year went to the State League One side, Corai, and then came back this year, and he was given a go. And look, the ball was slippery. It was a lot of dew on the ground. I think it was Troy Ruthven from St Albans who actually got it was a grubber, one of those grass cutters. And unfortunately for Scooter, he didn't handle it properly, and the ball went into fumbled it and went into the back of the net. The thing is, the ironic thing here is, he actually had a great game, and I reckon later in the second half, he probably stopped 2, maybe even 3 certain goals. So,
absolutely,
he did really, really well. But unfortunately, it was his blunder that cost North Geelong a victory. And St Albans move on to the next round, as do the Melbourne Knights, who defeated Bentley Greens 2-0. So that was a good little result for them there. And the draw was done earlier today. Did you want to talk about that now, or did you want to talk about that a bit later on, Ante?
No, yeah, that's absolutely fine. We can talk about the draw. I was just going to mention a great mentioning of the Pony Club on the commentary on Tuesday night. So you're going to have to, when I go to North Geelong, you're going to have to take me to that Pony Club behind the goal there. Absolutely. Yeah. And the other thing that you just in the commentary, there was the last header. It was North Geelong had a great header, beautiful chance they conjured up at the very end, and it could very well have gone to extra time. Barnabas headed over, and that was just unfortunate because I was looking forward to extra time and an extra half an hour of Taunchi's commentary, let me tell you.
Oh, it was very cold, so in a way I'm thankful it didn't get to that. But yeah, in round 7, Heidelberg United taking on St. Albans Dynamo. Heidelberg United are well-renowned cup specialists. Who can forget that? I think it was 11,000 people that turned up to watch them against Perth Glory several years back. That's going to be a tough.
City United even had to travel down to Heidelberg one year and
they did.
Win.
Yeah. So that's going to be a tough one for St Albans. The Melbourne Knights have got a relatively easier game. They take on Yarraville FC, the old Yarraville Glory, the Greek side. So we've been playing quite a few Greek sides. It was Bentley Greens, and prior to that, I can't remember who else it was. But Melbourne Knights taking on Yarraville FC, and they will be at home. Now, those games will be played, I think, mid-June, to be announced, to be confirmed.
Absolutely. And, of course, next Wednesday night, we've already mentioned it, City United take on NWS Spirit. We've had a 2-2 draw with them earlier this year. They actually beat us in the Waratah Cup final last year when they were division below us. They do have a half Croatian coach in David Petkovic, and he's had the team firing, particularly when they play against us. So that is a bit of a tricky encounter. That's Wednesday night at the City United Sports Centre. Everyone in Sydney, head on down there. On Saturday, June 3 at 5:30 p.m, Canberra, Croatia. Speaking of Greek teams, Canberra, Croatia take on Canberra Olympic. And actually today got drawn against Cockburn, and that's on Tuesday, June 6. So that's their next fixture. So we've got 6 Croatian teams left now.
Yeah, no, but we just mentioned something about Croatian coaches. Breaking news. This has just happened in the last 15 minutes, and it will be very, very interesting for our Sydney Croatian friends. Pascoe Vale in NPL 2 Victoria just appointed, and this is hot off the press, Ante Moric is the new coach, former Sydney United legend, and he was involved with Western United. That's just been made public in the last half hour, folks. So Ante Moric is the coach of Pascoe Vale down at and they've I think one of the ex-Melbourne Knights players, Vinko Buljubasic, is heavily involved with Pascoe Vale.
There you go.
His son, if I'm not mistaken, plays in the under-21s or something like that. So there's a bit of a Croatian connection. Sorry, Ante, I digress.
No problem at all, Taunchi. So moving along in Tasmania, there were no games this week. And so the second place, Glenorchy, take on Launceston on Saturday afternoon at Floorwood Park. In NPL 2, as you mentioned, Pascoe Vale just then, you stole my thunder because I was going to announce it as well, but it's all good.
I'm so sorry.
Ante Moric is a champion, lovely fella, and all the best to him. And obviously, Pascoe Vale currently, as you can see on that table, at position 12. So I think they're going to try and avoid that relegation battle. So on the weekend,
sorry,
that's all good.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut from now on.
No. It's all good. And Dandenong City defeated Brunswick 1-0 on the weekend, and they're in 4th position. And they're at home tomorrow night against Pascoe Vale, against Ante Moric. So there you go. That's going to be an interesting fixture in itself. Moving on to NPL Victoria, round 14. In the Croatian derby, which you as well commentated on, Taunchi, Melbourne Knights, they can't stop scoring, 4-1 victors. St. Albans, true to form, got a red card in the 62nd minute. It wasn't in the first half this time. It was in the second half. But it was only 2-1 at that particular point in time. So Melbourne Knights scored another 2 after that. And North Geelong lost at home to the Bentley Greens by 2-1. As we can see, we want North Geelong to move up the ladder. They're currently sitting in that last 14th position with 3 losses in the last 3 matches. St. Albans have lifted themselves up to 10th, and the Knights are holding up strongly in 4th spot, and they do actually play Oakley this weekend, who are positioned 3rd. So that's a big one for the Knights, who have had a good run of results recently. So let's hope that they can get that victory away tomorrow night at Jack Edwards Reserve against Oakley Cannons. At home this weekend are St. Albans Saints against Dandenong Thunder. That's on Saturday afternoon. And North Geelong are away to Port Melbourne on Saturday afternoon as well.
On to ACT, the nation's capital.
That's right, the nation's capital. Unfortunately, we had 2 losses to the Croatian clubs. Canberra lost 2-1 to Canberra Olympic, who they are, of course, playing in the Australia Cup. And O'Connor Knights lost at home against the Tigers by 3-0. But seeing it's only an 8-round competition, we're back to a Croatian derby this very weekend. Canberra, Croatia, the hosts. So get on down there if you're in Canberra. That's on Sunday afternoon at Deakin Stadium, the big Croatian derby there, Canberra versus O'Connor. So, yeah, go and support both teams.
On to South Coast, yes.
United had a thrashing 7-goal victory against Bellambi Rosellas. So that's good to see. That's the second victory of the season to South Coast. Last week, we actually had a comment that came up that South Coast had 9 players with a Croatian background in their first team. So that's playing brilliant. In the first 11 last week. And I looked at the team sheet this week, and it was a very similar amount as well. So, yeah, that's fantastic that the community is really getting behind South Coast, and they've got a lot of local Croatian boys playing there. So well done, South Coast United.
Now, Auntie, I may stand corrected, but, going back a couple of years or whatever, that wasn't the case, was it? Like there was not many Croatian players of Croatian extraction at South Coast United. Is that right? Am I...
Yeah, well, it's generational, what I'm seeing, and as well as you look at different clubs across the nation, and it really varies, the actual numbers. So, we all have our peaks and troughs, and at the moment, South Coast really have that peak. So it's very interesting to see. And they take on Wollongong Olympic. Speaking of Greek teams, they take on Wollongong Olympic on Saturday afternoon this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Herceg Zagreb, unfortunately, had a big 6-1 thrashing against the Newcastle Jets. They're, of course, the team that the development league for the A-League team, Newcastle Jets. The coach, Zaprešić, got sent off, unfortunately, as well, early on in the piece. So it wasn't the night. Hopefully tomorrow night is the night for Zagreb, who have had a good run of results prior to last weekend. So Friday night against Nepean at the Western Sydney Wanderers Football Park. So get on out there if you are in the area.
Another result we don't want to know about, eh?
Look,
NPL.
My weekend last weekend, I watched 4 matches, and all 4 I didn't get a win. So, and this was one of them. So, unfortunately, Sydney United went down to their perennial rivals, who are just basically a 2-minute drive away, against Marconi. And in this match, this was unfortunately the 12th league match. This is excluding the cup, where Sydney United have only scored 1 or no goals from open play in the last 12 matches. So, scoring goals has become an issue. There were a few calls for penalties, etc., which weren't awarded. So, even late in the piece, it would have been good to snatch away from Marconi with a draw, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So, Sydney United have dropped from the highs of even first place earlier in the year down to 7th at the moment. But as you can see, the league is quite tight, and Saturday night they've got a chance to get a bit of points up their sleeve, and that is against Mount Druitt at Popendetta Park at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. And it's always cold at Popendetta, so wear your Zagreb or Sydney United jacket, let me tell you.
Two very important games in the next 7 days for Sydney United, starting with that big Saturday night duel with the Rangers. Let's go Sydney United. Hopefully they can get back on the winners track. Up to Newcastle, Croatia, and another bad result. What is going on?
South Maitland, that's right. Newcastle was sitting pretty in first position, and unfortunately, South Maitland, it's so tight up there that they actually defeated them by 1-0. I can hear Karl Zivkovic crying from over the internet. So, there you go. But they've got a chance
Zivka.
They've got a chance this weekend to make things right when they're playing New Lambton. So they're away from home this Saturday afternoon.
All right, go Newcastle, Croatia. And then up to the Gold Coast Knights. Yes, we had a win here. And Gold Coast Knights have had a series of good results recently. So another good result for them this time in the league over the weekend, aren't they?
Yeah, and an all-important clash this weekend whereby they play the first place Gold Coast United. So that's going to be critical. That's 7 p.m. at Koplik Family Sports Park. I'd love to actually see this park, Koplik Family Sports Park. First versus second, Gold Coast United against Gold Coast Knights. And, let's hope, first position is there on the offering. So let's hope Gold Coast can get the result there like they did on the weekend against Rockdale.
The Gold Coast Derby, folks, if you're out that way on Saturday night, 7 p.m. at the interestingly named Koplik Family Sports Park. Yeah. Anyway,
Indeed.
moving along to Brisbane. Oh, look
8-0.
at this.
Yes, go Brisbane. 8-0. There you go. Look at that table. 11 games, 11 wins, 33 points. That is what we want to see. 48 goals scored, 8 conceded. And yeah, well done, Brisbane Knights, sitting pretty first. And they take on, and not this weekend, but on Saturday, June 3, 7 p.m. is their next match against Annalee FC at the Knight Sports Complex. So go the Knights.
Over to South Australia.
South Australia, who is going to be very topical this evening because, of course, we'll be speaking all things tourney. And unfortunately, Adelaide, Croatia, still sitting first, but they had a 3-1 loss on the weekend. As you can see, that's very tight. You've got from first to sixth seventh actually, within 3 points of each other. Yeah. So that's incredibly tight. Looking for promotion up to the Premier League up in South Australia. So let's hope that the Raiders can do the job this Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. against Playford City at the Croatian Sports Centre. So, yeah, let's hope that they do that. But Playford are basically only 3 points behind the Raiders as well, so they'll be looking to do a play on Adelaide, Croatia.
I think that the thing that's going for the Raiders at the moment is their incredible goal difference at the moment. So it could come down to percentages and goal difference. So, yeah, look, a win and a good win is what's needed by Adelaide, Croatia this coming weekend. Now, last but not least, over to WA, and we've got some, mixed results over there for the Croatian guys.
Yes, that's right. Netherlands, they lost to the Western Knights, which is great. So they hosted the Knights, and the Knights ended up victors. And Mandurah City, unfortunately, defeated Guelph by 2-0. The Western Knights are still sitting first, again in a pretty tight table race, and they've got that 6 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss so far, the Western Knights. So let's hope they can continue that great form. This Saturday afternoon, both teams are at home. So if you are in Perth, go and support the Knights and Guelph. The Guelph currently sitting in 7th position. And there you go. Hopefully both teams can get a victory on the weekend.
Folks, we're going to take a very, very short break so we can catch our breath. It's the Oz Cro Soccer Show, Season 2, Episode 8. Don't go away. When we return, it's the Croatian roundup. Lots happening in Croatia, so stay with us. And after that, later on in the show, we've got STELA, SPOLJAR and STANKO ZILIC, the tournament directors or the co-tournament directors of the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament, Adelaide 2023. They'll be joining us a little bit later on with some huge announcements as well to be made later on. So don't go away, folks. Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. It's time for the Croatian Roundup. Now, Ante, before we get into the Croatian Roundup, there's heaps to talk about. But a bit of an Australian-Croatian connection with our next news item. NK Urania Baška Voda, we know that there are 3 former North Geelong Warriors players playing there at the moment. Luka Skorko, the elder son of former soccer Josip Skorko, Nicholas Vlahović, and Anthony Leban as well. Unfortunately, that their team has been relegated, and it's very unlikely that the 3 former Geelong Croatian boys will be at Urania. But over the weekend, Leban and Vlahović combined for a goal, and we've got some footage here. So I'm going to show that. Anthony Leban, their number 9, does a darting run into the box, and then he crosses for number 7, blonde-haired kid. There we go. That's Nicholas Vlahović. So the Australian-Croatian connection there for Urania, well done to those two. And Luka Skorko started the game on the bench, but I think he did come on sometime during the thing. So great to see.
That was Joko Kalitz's old team.
That was Joko Kalitz's old team, correct. And I think that was probably the connection initially. But we were talking off air. There are a lot of lot of young Australian Croatians at the moment. And over the coming weeks, folks, we're going to, as the season winds down in Croatia, we'll try and catch up with as many of our young Australian Croatians that are, playing overseas in Croatia. Last week we had Jacob Tarasenko, former Novocastrian, former Newcastle boy. If you missed that interview, it was a really good one. He's at the moment at NK Duga Resa in the Croatian third-tier competition. Go over to our YouTube page. It's the Oz Cro Soccer Show YouTube page, and you'll be able to catch up on last week's episode. In fact, you'll be able to see all of the past episodes as well. But that interview with Jacob is a really good one, and he actually talks about his experience in Croatia, and quite a pleasant experience at the end of the day. But I really liked Ante where he said his girlfriend, who's actually Spanish and met her in England, she now lives in Zagreb. And initially, they didn't, or she didn't want to learn any Croatian because she figured that they weren't going to be there for too much longer. Well, as fate would have it, she's actually fallen in love with Zagreb and life in Croatia to the point that now she's actually started studying Croatian or learning Croatian. So
you can't blame her.
Absolutely can't blame her. That's for sure. But anyway, let's move along and let's talk the Prva Liga, the Croatian Premier League. Okay, or the first division, if you like. Yes, let's go through the results, Ante.
Yeah, second last round it is. And what happened on the weekend was Hajduk ended up beating Slaven Belupo. We know Hajduk has solidified their second position a long time ago. Gorica thrashed Varaždin by 5-2, and unfortunately that sent Šibenik down to the second division for next year. And of course, we'll be talking more about Šibenik a bit later on. Rijeka, they lost at home to Dinamo Zagreb, so they're still in that battle for third versus fourth. A big encounter happening this weekend, which we'll talk about in a second. Šibenik got thrashed 4-1 by Osijek, who'll be involved in that big encounter I just alluded to. And NK Lokomotiva ended up beating Istra by 3-1. So you can see the positions there at the moment. Osijek are third, Rijeka are fourth. They're within a point of each other. And then we've also got Istra on 45, 3 points behind Rijeka. And Varaždin, well, their negative goal difference isn't going to help them. But it's about all those important positions for, obviously, Europa League next year, isn't it, Tonchi?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there you go. There's the fixtures for the last home game or last round, and that's going to be on Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, their time, early wee hours of Monday morning, our time. Dinamo Zagreb taking on Gorica. There's going to be a big celebration, championship winning celebration at the Maksimir Stadium for that one. Istra hosting Slaven Belupo. Hajduk Split, a rematch of the cup fixture, which we'll talk a little bit later on. That's in Split. Hajduk taking on Šibenik. Varaždin at home to Lokomotiva. They're expecting a big crowd for that one. Varaždin have been a real breath of fresh air. They've outside the big four, they are well and truly the best supported team in the Croatian elite competition, and they are playing really attractive football at times. But the big one is going to be the one in Osijek at the City Garden, as they call it, the City Stadium, Gradski Vrt. The last time that Osijek will be playing a league match at Gradski Vrt, they'll be taking on Rijeka. They're expecting a bumper crowd. They're expecting capacity crowd, aren't they?
It's emotional. It's an emotional game because it being the last game at the stadium before the new stadium is opened, etc. So yeah, it's going to be massive.
Yeah. Now, it is not. It's not going to be the last time that the Gradski Vrt is going to be used. As soon as NK Osijek vacates it, the women's club, Zrinjski Nogometni Klub Osijek, which is actually a different entity to NK Osijek. They're not the one and the same. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There has been talk about merging the two. But if you for fans of NK Osijek, it's actually a privately owned club that a Hungarian businessman owns. So he actually owns NK Osijek. So it's actually a privately run club. Zrinjski Nogometni Klub Osijek is still, I guess, one of those, what do you call it, member-owned or member-driven or whatever. Nogometni Klub Osijek, they will be taking over. Now, Zrinjski Nogometni Klub Osijek, they are an institution in the women's side of things in Croatia. They have won the league title a staggering 24 times since 1990. They are, once again, the newly crowned champions. In recent years, the only club that could even come close to challenging them was RNK Split, Radnički Nogometni Klub Split. No affiliation with Hajduk. In fact, Hajduk Split actually had their women's team for the first time in history playing in the elite Croatian division. And Dinamo Zagreb also had their women's team as well. So that's great to see. The Croatian Women's Premier League is starting to get in, prestige, and it's becoming a genuine competition. But Osijek are still, light years ahead of every other.
Streets ahead.
Just like Dinamo Zagreb is light years ahead of everyone when it comes to the Croatian league.
We'd really love to see the women's national team, grow in prominence and make the World Cups and things like that. So the importance of women's football, is very important.
Spewing, they're not actually in the World Cup here down under, but not to worry. Now, before we move on to the rest of the Croatian competition, we're going to play a little bit of a clip here, which Nogometni Klub Osijek released during the week. It tugs at the heartstrings. A very emotional ode to the Gradski Vrt Stadium. And for anyone that has ever been to the Gradski Vrt Stadium, yours truly included, it kind of, you can really this resonates with you, that's for sure. So it only goes for about 2 minutes, folks. Enjoy. We'll be back very shortly.
Za neke ruglo, nakupina betona, podrum europskog nogometa. Za nas, kultno mjesto, simbol grada, sve na svijetu. Domaćin s sjajnim potezima, golovima, pjesmama, koreografijama kohorte i brojnim velikanima. Svjedok bezbroj priča s tribina, novih prijateljstava, razočaranja, ali i veselja. Tvoji hodnici pamte mnoga lica, kapetana, trenera, reprezentativaca, legendi. Odgojio si djecu i naraštaje, pružio podršku kad god je trebalo, baš kao pravi član obitelji. Drhtao na golove, pjevao za pobjede, skupljao suze za poraze. Trpio sunce, kišu, maglu i snijeg. I vrijeđali su te, gazili, čak i granatama gađali, ali nikada te nisu srušili. Bio si i ostao neosvojiva tvrđava. I pamtit ćemo hod Wilsonovom, mjesto na kojem smo sjedili, prvu utakmicu koju smo gledali, trenutke koje smo sanjali. Vrijeme je da se popnemo stepenicama, pogledamo poznata lica oko sebe, čujemo huk s istoka i s tobom zapjevamo posljednji Osijek ale. Ovo je kraj jedne ere. Gasimo tvoje reflektore, ali naše boje ostaju iste, bijelo, plave, jedine i prave. Za više od 40 godina od srca ti hvala. Čuvat ćemo uspomenu na legendu grada.
That was awesome. That was really awesome.
It was awesome. It was emotional. It was almost like an obituary. But I tell you what, there aren't going to be too many Osijek fans that are going to be sad, because if anyone has seen the Pampas Arena, it's called something else, obviously, but that's its working title. Mate, it is going to be
amazing.
The best stadium in Croatia by a mile. And I think it's a capacity of about 13,000 or something like that. I'd be really, really shattered if for the first home game of next season, Osijek doesn't get a 13,000 capacity stadium. It is an absolute gem of a stadium. It's beautiful. All right,
Absolutely
moving along
right.
to the second division, Ante.
Yeah, as we can see, Rudesh is flying high with 63, but unfortunately they had a loss on the weekend to Solin by 2-1. Orient, they lost at home to Bjelobrdo by 1-0. We had the Croatia Zrinjski, they lost at home as well to Dugopolje by 2-1. Vukovar drew with Zabalia 1-0, and Jarun defeated Dubrava Zagreb by 1-0. So it's an interesting table here with a couple rounds to play. We have got Vukovar in second place, 6 points behind Rudesh. We've got Zabalia on 53 in third position, and then the rest pretty much behind. So, but yeah, Rudesh, of course, are flying up to the first division next season.
So they are going up. They are promoted by virtue of the fact that Vukovar hasn't received a license to get into the and they haven't actually applied. So regardless of they can't get in, Rudesh obviously has been promoted. However, technically Vukovar still can win the title. So they've got they're 6 points behind. Rudesh would have to lose both their matches, and Vukovar win both their 2 remaining matches. And there's a slight issue of a goal difference there. But should Rudesh lose both their matches and Vukovar win their 2 matches, don't worry, goal difference won't become an issue. So, yeah, very, very, very tight there at the top. And I'll tell you what, Ante, in the third tier competition, the Druga Liga, which is the second division, it's just as tight. Up the top, this is the first year that the third division has been a unified competition. Up the top, we've got Zrinjski Jurjevac, who are located just outside of Osijek, and NK Sesvete on the outskirts of Zagreb. They are fighting tooth and nail for that lone automatic spot to qualify for the first division. This confusion. Can they please change the names?
Third division up to second division.
Second division, correct. Yeah. Now, round 29, the penultimate round sees Zrinjski Jurjevac travel to Belišće, while Sesvete are at home to Bjelovar. Now, assuming both these teams win their matches, and the chances are more than likely that they will, the round 30 will throw up the season decider. Zrinjski Jurjevac hosting NK Sesvete. What a game that is going to be. And, we talk about promotion relegation and wish we had that here in Australia at the elite level. This is just an absolute perfect advertisement for promotion and relegation. So that's what awaits us in the lower tier competitions of the Croatian League. Now,
very exciting.
There was an interesting thing getting off topic here. If we're now moving to the fourth tier of the Croatian pyramid, NK Zadar, or actually they are called now HNK Zadar. They are kind of like the continuation or the reincarnation of the club that was known as NK Zadar. And there has been talk in the Croatian press that 2 consortiums, one from Australia, one from Croatia, are interested in investing and possibly even purchasing the majority stake in HNK Zadar and bringing the fallen angel from Zadar back up to the Croatian elite competition. Now, they're saying, according to unofficial information, one of the Australian consortium is being headed by Šime Krslović from Sydney, who's involved with Sydney United and also MacArthur FC. And it's saying he could be an Australian businessman in the IT industry who is actually representing an Australian Croatian. So this is quite interesting. This is something that has just come out in the last few days, and there's been all sorts of speculation who this mystery investor could be or who could this person be. There's a lot of Australian Croatians from the Zadar area, so anything would be just pure speculation. But pop it in the chat section if you know anything that we don't know. We're hoping to maybe get Šime on the show in coming weeks. So if even Šime is listening, have a chat to our man Ante. I'm sure you see him down at Sydney United games often.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure going to ask him about that one. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Now, jumping across the border, Ante, before we talk the Croatian Cup, the Croatian team, the Croatian club, in the Herceg-Bosna League, in the BiH League. Liga, it's not the Herceg-Bosna League, I should say. Zrinjski Mostar, they have done an amazing thing this year. They have captured the double. Hasn't been done before. The league and the cup double. So well done to Zrinjski Mostar. They're the cup champions by virtue of a 1-0 win over city rivals Velez Mostar. This was done in Zenica last Thursday. And look, they were the league champions with 1 round to go. They're 20 points clear of second place Borac Banja Luka and 26 points ahead of the third placed FK Sarajevo. So in the top 3, you've got a Croatian team, a Serbian team, and a Bosnian or Muslim team. And it's great to see that at least in one thing, the Croatians are ahead of the other 2 entities, nationalities, call it what you will in Bosnia-Herzegovina. But well done to Zrinjski Mostar. They're going to now have they're going to be seeded going into the European Champions League qualifiers.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, so that's the first time it's ever happened for any club from Bosnia-Herzegovina. So well done to them. Now, next season, the BiH Liga will have an increase of 1 Croatian club. There's going to be 4 now, not just 3. On top of Zrinjski, Mostar, Široki Brijeg, and Posuše, we've got a little club just right near Metković, my Metković, on the Bosnian Herzegovinian side, Gošk Gabela. So that they were the
Shala's team. Tony Shala's team.
Yes, he'll be very happy.
He's been partying all week, let me tell you.
And rightly so, absolutely rightly so. So that's going to be there's lots of news happening there. Ante, let's talk about the Croatian Cup, hey, shall we?
Let's do it. Yeah, unfortunately, not good news for Šibenik fans, but great news for Hajduk fans. Hajduk have lifted the trophy with a big 2-0 victory overnight. It was, huge. Their massive crowd. The game was played actually in the Eka. There was a lot of talk before the match about the 2 passionate supporters in the Torcida and the Funsuti not really liking each other. And there was a bit of controversy at the end of the match when Livaja actually grabbed the microphone and started singing an interesting song, which we can't repeat to the Šibenik fans. And so a bit of rivalry there. And the Funsuti were actually taunting Hajduk because, as we've found out, they've got the second highest amount of penalties awarded for Hajduk globally. It's amazing. Like, for one club to have so many penalties since 2020, they've had 43 penalties, and the Funsuti found out about that, and so they were taunting the Hajduk fans about that particular thing as well.
Now, you ask a Hajduk fan, why is it that they get so many penalties? And a Hajduk fan will say, because they're first to the ball and they go in hungry and this and that. And any soccer coach will tell you that if you get first to the ball, the referee's usually going to kind of award it to you, et cetera, et cetera. You know, if you talk to the Dinamo fans, they will be saying, it's rigged. It's all this. It's all that. We want to hear from the neutrals. Are there any neutrals out there that are not Hajduk fans or Dinamo fans? They might be Rijeka or Cibalia or Varaždin or Osijek fans, or maybe some, like Tony Čavar, Gošk Gabela fans. I don't know. We want to hear from you guys in the chat section. What's your take on all of that? But there was an interesting graphic as well. Now,
did you hear Livaja, when he scored, he actually took his shirt off and he had the number 2 on his back, meaning that Šibenik are going to the second division. So that didn't go down well. Yeah,
he did something like that too, and then signifying going down to the second division, and then at the end, right. he got the megaphone and started singing a very a song. He could be facing suspension. Of a lengthy suspension, but there was a graphic here as well. He's either loved or he's hated, and if you can read that, what it says there, it's quite actually disgusting. But having that type of whatever.
Hey, but that was just about his eggs. That's all.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's Easter time, isn't it, in Croatia? No. But, you either love him or hate him. But, it's really sad. But, look, I did see this really good comment on social media by someone. I'm going to put it up there. And this, to me, is the comment of the year. Why can't this be the case? I've actually sort of very loosely translated it, very hurriedly. To je taj naš prokleti mentalitet. Ne može se nitko radovati svom uspjehu bez da vrijeđa i ponižava druge. Eto, Hajduk se ruga Šibeniku umjesto da slavi trofej. BBB na Poljudu umjesto da slave naslov, rugaju se Torcidi. Zaboravljeno ona stara, u porazu se ne ponizi, a u pobjedu se ne uzvisi. And there's the translation loosely down there. That is a great comment from Damir Arabašić. Do not know if he's a Hajduk fan.
Very well said. Very well said.
That is the problem. Why can't we celebrate? And I've noticed, Dinamo fans jumping up on various Australian Croatian forums and Livaya this and Livaya that and blah, blah. Guys, celebrate your own team's success. Hajduk friends, celebrate your own team's success. Why do we need to now belittle and it's like a national sport putting down the other person or putting down the other team? For God's sake, revel in your own glory, yeah? Absolutely, go for your life. But do we actually, that's my rant for the week.
I agree. Heroes and villains create good copy in the papers. And so that's the thing, in terms of building up the game. But there is a line, and I think they've overstepped the mark.
That hatred that exists between North and South, on a sporting thing and this and that, whatever. It's gone over every boundary, over every, and it's just, honestly, it's just, it takes away that what we've got in Croatia. And look, we might have the crappiest stadiums apart from Osijek's new fantastic stadium. And dare I say, Rujevica is not a bad stadium, actually, for somewhat of a little stadium. But you know what? For a little country to continuously produce unbelievable athletes and sportsmen and women and footballers, generation after generation, man, let's celebrate it for once, Feel like I need to take a break.
And that's why you hear those little, stories like when Dinamo helped Hajduk, when they played in the final of the Youth Champions League. They're the good stories, right? And we need more of that, you know what I mean? But a little bit of healthy rivalry, it's like the State of Origin, right? It's a manufactured rivalry. But here, I think there's a little bit more than a manufactured rivalry. It's not manufactured at all.
Yeah. Now, look, if we're going to take some solace in what we do, celebrate what we do, I'm going to celebrate now from going something that was really crap, making me feel very distressed, that distress state we talked about earlier. This comment that I received, or message that I received during the week from a non-Croatian who's a regular listener of the show. Oh, mate, this is the sort of stuff that really puts it into perspective. And Paul Gallard, I'm not sure how I've pronounced it. Great show as always, Tonchi. I'm not Croatian, but I listen every week as I follow Australian football and used to support my local Croatian club, Central United, when living in New Zealand. Keep up the good work. Paul, if you are tuning in today, pop something in the section, in the comments section. We'd love to know that you are there. That's the sort of stuff. And then what sometimes takes a non-Croatian for us to realise what we've got is unbelievable. So, folks.
Absolutely.
Molimos. Yeah. All right. Ante, before we do go away, another Australian-Croatian connection that was present at the Rujevica Stadium. Former Hajdukovac, Steven Luštica, he's over in Croatia at the moment with his lovely wife Marina. And he actually, there's a social media posting by Splitska televizija, bivši veznjak Hajduka. Steven Luštica iz Australije i stigao na Rujevicu kako bi u finalu Kupa Hrvatske bodrio bijele. And there he is watching it from the outer. So partaking in Hajduk's triumph on the weekend, so well done.
Yeah, I actually saw him play for Hajduk when in the game against Barcelona, the centenary match, at Poljud. That was fantastic back in 2011.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, folks, we're going to take a break. When we do return, it'll be time to talk to the tournament directors, the co-tournament directors of the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament for this year, which will be held in Adelaide later this year. We'll be speaking to STELA SPOLJAR and to Stanko ZILIC as well. Folks, don't go away. Looking forward to this because this is going to be a really, really interesting discussion with the two. Don't go away.
Stay here.
Welcome to Zaprešić Studio Architecture. Our approach combines modern design with harmonious solutions tailored to your unique needs. We listen closely to your vision and turn it into a functional, beautiful living environment that truly feels like home. Our designs cater to your needs and evolve with you over time, encouraging deeper connections with family and friends. Specializing in custom residential homes and boutique apartments, we balance luxury and comfort to create a welcoming atmosphere for everyone to enjoy. Discover a world of inviting and captivating design at www.zaprešićstudio.com.au. Contact us for a journey from idea to reality. Zaprešić Studio Architecture, turning your dreams into reality.
Dragi ljudi, pozdrav iz studija Zaprešić Boys.
Pozdrav!
Evo, pozivamo vas ove godine na tradicionalni nogometni turnir Hrvata, Australije i Novog Zelandu koji će se ove godine održati u Adelaide. I jedna novost, jedna vijest za vas, na tom istom nogometnom turniru nastupit će nitko drugi nego Zaprešić Boys! Pozivamo vas sve, dođite, bit će ludo, bit će zabavno, puno energije i ljubavi za domovinu, za Hrvatsku i vidimo se na našem koncertu.
How exciting is that?
That's
Boys.
awesome. That was
That's
public
brilliant.
knowledge, I guess, from a few weeks back. But Zaprešić Boys, they'll be coming to Australia later this year, and I think they're also going to be adding a tour to Canberra on top of the appearance at the Croatian Soccer Tournament. We talk about Croatian clubs working together. Canberra, Croatia, FC, and O'Connor Knights have collaborated, good on you guys in the nation's capital, collaborated to bring Zaprešić Boys to Canberra, and that's going to be happening a little bit later on. So that is absolutely fantastic to see. Ante, time for our next guests. Let's bring them on. Would you like to do the introductions?
Yes, no problem. From the organising committee for the 2023 Croatian Soccer Tourney in Adelaide this year, we have got Mr. STANKO and Mrs. STELA SPOLJAR, who are our guests this evening. Dobro večer, dobro večer, Stella, and welcome to the Oz Cro Soccer Podcast.
Dobro večer.
How are you guys? Good to
thank
see.
you.
Now we've got four cities here in one. We've got Stanko, you're in Adelaide, I'm in Geelong, Anta's in Sydney, and Stella's in Melbourne. Whoa, this is a national pickup.
Wonderful.
I think we should drink to that. Just a little bit of orange juice. No vodka here, but
I'm pretty sure there's vodka in there, Tonchi.
yeah, no.
Rakia, not vodka. Forget about it.
After my rant a little bit earlier tonight, I think probably do need it. But Stella, maybe first of all to you. You've been involved with the Australian Croatian Soccer Association now for quite a while. You've been heavily involved with several different clubs over that time as well. You see some of the best and you see some of the worst, particularly at the tournaments as well, But let's talk about the positives and this and that. What's been some of your highlights over the years, and what makes you so proud to be, Croatian through your involvement in the soccer circles here in Australia?
Okay, lots of questions in there.
I'm renowned for doing that, aren't I, Auntie?
You are.
Absolutely.
So I have been involved in the Croatian soccer or Croatian community scene for a very long time. I probably started when I was 15 years of age, when I was helping my late father in the kitchen at Hanson Reserve, where Adelaide, Croatia used to play, and serving the food there and cleaning up and collecting the cans so that the club could get 10 cents per can back then. And that's how we raised a lot of money through the whole year, actually, by collecting those cans and recycling them way back then. And then from there, became involved in the soccer committee, secretary, moved on to the Savez, the Croatian Soccer Federation, general manager for Melbourne Knights, been involved in a few other clubs and organisations and fundraising events. And last year, my darling brother Ian, president of Adelaide Croatia Soccer Club, said, "Hey, Come on. Come on. You can take the girl out of Adelaide, but you can't take Adelaide out of the girls. So we're back. I'm back with STANKO and trying to organise a wonderful tournament.
Sure will be.
Fantastic. STANKO, so tell us.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no, that's it. Sorry, go.
No, Stella, go on. Well,
Keep
what
going,
were you going to
Stella.
say? Keep going.
Well, one of my highlights, or two highlights, my first tournament was back in Mildura in 1985.
Wow.
And I've attended probably, since then, maybe 35 tournaments or so. So that was probably my most favourite because it was my first tournament. And then when we took the tournament over to Auckland, that was one of my other favourite.
Absolutely. Wow, you've seen a lot over that time, Stella.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about your highlights in a minute. But STANKO, tell us about your involvement. How's this all coming together? We're only a couple of months away. And tell us, how many volunteers have you got involved? What's going on there?
Good day, boys. No, it's a fantastic event to be part of, celebration of football as in Australian soccer. That's just a huge, huge event. Now, as Adelaide, we've always been a very, very local community club, and from a volunteer base, that's something we're definitely not short of. So as it stands right now, we have a mass following from locally, and even more importantly, I should mention, we've had a couple of teams externally from other states actually put their hand up and give us a bit of a, what do you guys need help with? So that just shows, and I think back to your first question was why we do this. It's because of the community that we're in as a collective, not just locally, and why we do it, for the love. That's simply as that.
And Torture, you'll be proud to hear that it was North Geelong Soccer Club that have put their hand up to come and help volunteer at the tournament.
That's brilliant. Yeah, no, there's a real strong Croatian Adelaide connection at North Geelong, so it is great to see that, and it's part of it's become such a big thing, Stella. I mean, yourself and myself, we were into Savas for a long period of time as well, so we saw back then. Certainly wasn't 35 years ago, but it was about a decade or so ago. How quickly and how massively it grew in such a short time. But it's got to a stage where even COVID wasn't able to put a dent in it, as we saw with the wonderful tournament that was held in Sydney last year, which Ante, you were kind of saw firsthand and experienced it, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. It was, great for everyone. It was a relief. Everyone was, so long. We didn't have one. I think Dandy was the last one before Sydney, and definitely. It was great to see everyone together and, just the party. I mean, the big thing is the music now, right? And it's great to see we've got international, guests now happening. It's becoming so large that we can actually, host those, and that's another attraction to bring even more Croatians to the tournament, right?
It's amazing. The COVID, if anything, has done the opposite. It's actually increased the awareness for everyone to come back together and enjoy a good festa.
Yeah. Now, STANKO, first of all, to you, you're more the football operations part of things, and Stella's responsible for the events. Let's talk about the football operations side of things. Team registrations just recently opened. How's the first few weeks going, and what would you like to say to all the Australian Croatian clubs out there?
I think everyone knows, and everyone's been part of this tournament process for a number of years now, and everyone leaves it to the last minute, which is standard. So we are encouraging everyone to actually go into the Savas website, go through the enrollment process. I think up at this, we've had a handful of people register, or a handful of teams. So it's still slow goings, but we're expecting a big rush towards the end of it. And I think if we take on last year's program, I think anything in excess of 50 odd teams we should see register for the tournament this year.
That's terrific. And STANKO, when it's in Sydney, we need buses to transport to other grounds. But I hear that, one of the advantages of having it in Adelaide is that basically everything is in the same area. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're very fortunate that we have probably one of the state-of-the-art complexes in Australia, which alone on our pitches, we have 4 main full-size pitches under lights. Adjacent to us, we have the Federation, or the South Australian Federation, which have a further 3 sets of pitches, and then literally adjacent to that, we have a school which has 2 more pitches. So in the vicinity of, let's call it 200 meters, we have 9 pitches which we'll be utilizing for the event to ensure that everyone stays on the same venue. You know, the whole experience can be enjoyed by everyone, irrespective of which team you're following. You get to mingle across all of us. So really for the 4 days, it's going to be that closeness, bringing everyone together under the one roof. Correct?
That's awesome. So what you're saying is Adelaide 2023 will be able to have a capacity to field a record number of entries, folks. So if you're involved with the club, doesn't matter at what level, make sure you enter. We'd love to see a record number of entries this year. Stella, you're involved in the event side of things. That's going to be a hard act to beat. STANKO's doing very well with the football ops. Tell us what's going on with the everything else, because that is what makes or breaks the tournament, isn't it?
It sure does. I think it's involved in. No, you're not. No, you're not. I think it's involved so much more than just a soccer tournament.
That is true.
It's a whole Croatian experience. And when I try and explain to my non-Croatian friends what it's about, they're just in awe. You have 60 teams from around Australia and hopefully New Zealand. But this year, what we're trying to do is, I suppose, we're going to have our gala night, which is on Saturday night at the Adelaide Oval. And tickets are $165, which includes a 3-course meal and 5-hour drink package. And tickets will be released shortly online and also at the club. We're going to have a ladies' lunch, and I'm not too sure if you know a lot about the Croatian Sports Centre, but many, many years ago, we planted our own olive grove. And so we're having a ladies' lunch, and it's ručak ispod masline. And we've got a Croatian chef on board, and just going to have long tables under the olive grove, some Croatian music, some pita making experience as well. Drinks, and we've got lots of sponsors on board for
brilliant.
For the lunches. So we're just going to showcase all the South Australian Croatian produce that you will find. So fish, wines, pršut, lots of different meats, pasta, etc. Having a fun day for children. We're also trying to do an open air mass on the Sunday.
Terrific.
For all our guests. And I think you just mentioned before, Ante, about entertainment. So not only have we got Zaprešić Boys, but we've got 2 zones organised. So we've got the Bocce Bowl, which is an existing structure that the men, they play bocce in. So I think we're going to be messing with their balls over the weekend, because we're turning that into... It's going to be a big entertainment zone. So we're going to hit off Thursday night. We've got a free disco for everyone, open to all ages in the Bocce Bowl. And then we've got another zone called the Starter Kuća zone, which is the original club room. So we're turning that into an entertainment, al fresco area, lots of food. We've got market and food stalls. We've had a lot of organisations and small businesses from around Australia contact us and said, hey, we want a stall, so we're going to make it like a mini market upstairs in the club room. So and lots more.
That's great. That's terrific.
Plenty more.
The bocce area at King Tom last year was converted into a disco hall as well. So the bocce guys can't have their own bocce area when the Crow tourney is on. That's a no-go zone. No-go zone. 100%.
We haven't told them yet, though. So
it's a secret.
Exclusive.
Well, that's one of the exclusives we're talking about tonight. So there you go. We were going to reveal another exclusive, but unfortunately, we're going to have to just hold off on that for the time being. Yeah. We won't mention that, but so people get excited. But Stella, can we reveal some of the other bands that are playing apart from Zaprešić Boys? Is that yet to be finalised?
It hasn't been announced yet, but I can tell you that we've got 7 bands from around Australia, including a couple of our own local acts as well.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Now,
That is really exciting.
So
now we'll put the logo up there. That's the Adelaide 2023 logo. Who designed it? Let's give the graphic designer a bit of a plug, and that's quite nifty, quite a cool looking logo. Who wants to go first? Stanko?
I'll go first. Well, we have to give a big thank you to Leo Torlot, who over the last, as long as I can remember, last I think 25 years, as long as I can remember, has always been involved in our design stage of any shape or form. So massive thank you goes out to him. He's put endless of hours in making sure that the tournament logo has come out the way it has. So big thank you to him as well. So, but yeah, it was a long process for us to get to that point, but we're very happy with the final outcome.
Now, before we do go on, we've got who is it? We've got someone from the Adelaide Croatian tournament organising committee saying now renamed to Bocce Balls, not Bocce Bowl. There you go. Whilst we're mentioning, we do need to mention as well Jure Dragovic from Melbourne, not the one involved with the Soccer Federation, but his cousin. He's saying, seeing this is a Thursday night, gents, can I give a plug? Absolutely. For Hrvatski Radio Ponos, starting soon at 10 p.m. out of the Werribee 88.9 Win FM. Special guest tonight, Tony Ivanda of Cafe Crow. So I'm sure there's an online component. Jure, if there is a website or anything like that people can listen to it for those of us that are out of town, pop it in the comments section. But that's getting off the track. And feel free, folks, if you've got any questions for either of our tournament organisers that Ante and I haven't thought about, pop it in the comments section and we'll try and get to that as well. But Ante, time for you to ask a question.
For those who haven't been to Adelaide, how far is the tournament situated from Adelaide Central itself? Where's the best place to stay for all of us interstaters?
I'll jump in here, Stella. So fortunately, actually, we've managed to get a local sponsor through a hotel called Indigo. So if you are looking for accommodation, we definitely encourage everyone to jump onto the Indigo site and look at making a booking. They just mentioned the Croatian Sports Centre or the tournament, and they'll look after you guys. But from a location point of view, Adelaide's relatively small, but still a 15-20 minute drive from the city, and you're at the sports centre, which is not far, obviously, at all. No, very, very close by, and close vicinity to everything else. So really good. I will also just throw in there while I'm chatting, one of the things that we've tried making this tournament slightly kind of accommodating to everyone is that we're going to be running a largely cashless system, with the exception that the club room itself, the main club room, will be a cash-only zone, where the rest of the disco areas, food carts will be all cashless. So just giving everyone the heads up that we're trying to make it as accommodating to everyone's needs as possible.
And how will it work? How will that, like, is there a central casa or central kind of whatever, or do you have to pay by credit card, or what? How does it work?
Tap and go. Your normal tap and go at the shops that you currently do. Card. Yep. Your phone, credit card, watch, your shoe, whatever you've got your thing attached to your forehead, go for a tap and go.
There was a bit of mucka last year, for those who don't know. So that's a bit of a relief. So that's really good to know.
But hang on, you're dealing with Croatians, especially the older Croatians, and they'll say cash money discount. Come on, are you going to offer cash discount now?
We have thought about the starting, and we have given them the optionality in the original club rooms or the main club rooms. So if they do have cash they want to throw around, they can always do that at the main club room.
Yeah, excellent.
Stanko, tell us a bit about the Raiders. They're doing quite well this year, and obviously the ultimate goal is to get promoted, right?
Yeah, as you boys were just saying beforehand, we're sitting on top spot right now in a relatively good position. Having said that, we are playing Playford City on the weekend. Unfortunately, from 1st to 7th, there's still 3 points. So it's still a very, very close season irrespective. But I do want to make a mention that, Vlado Blaženko, who's come on and he's obviously taken the lead this year, has done a fantastic job. And a big consideration to the fact that we've got this year 3 to 4 Croatian boys of our own playing in the team and our regular starters. Excellent. So, collectively, the squad itself is a very, very young squad, some 19, 20 years of age, and they're competing with men, you know, who've played in the top league. So real big congratulations and to them.
And
there you go. Sorry.
Just quickly, the rumours are that Irakunda and Goodwin actually came from Adelaide, Croatia. Is that true?
And many more.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. I mean, you know, they're getting lots of accolades at this particular point in time. Sorry, Taunch.
No, you're right. I just wanted to say, and this is a nod to my co-host from last year, Josip Zilic, and he had this saying, and there's right there is your secret to success, Stanko. You've got 3 kids of Croatian background playing, and Josip always used to say, "Bez Hrvata nema zlata." Without Croats, there is no gold. So, you know,
just like the Champions League.
Just like South Coast United, How good are they doing as well?
Yeah.
No, it's good to see. All jokes aside, it is really good to see some of the homegrown boys coming up, and even non-Croatian kids coming up through the ranks of our clubs. It's good to see. But it's absolutely awesome to see, Stanko. Sorry, Ante.
No, I was just going to say, fingers crossed that they can stay up there in that first position, and it'd be a great double celebration, obviously, with the tournament being held in Adelaide as well. And there's, lots of things. So if you haven't been to Adelaide before, like, there's lots of things to do, on the periphery. So spend a couple extra days, go to the wineries, Adelaide Hills. It's amazing. Harndorf, all those particular areas. I'm a big fan of Adelaide as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
Now, Stella, from here on now, and apart from this lots of stressing and the lots of ordering, merchandise and what you're not, what's the main focus for the organising committee at the moment? Is it just crossing the T's and dotting the I's and the bulk of it's been done, or what's happening? Yeah.
I'm really proud to say that we have really worked hard as a team. We meet on a weekly basis, and so we've got the majority of the tournament organised. And going forward, it's just those finer details that we're ticking off. And our social media, a lot has been happening in Adelaide, especially with the FIFA World Cup, because Adelaide, Croatia, obviously is a training complex for the China Women's World Cup team. So lots of things happening at the moment. So we're hoping to ramp up our social media, which, if you don't know, go on to STADL 2023 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, also on our Raiders website and Facebook, and we'll keep you updated on gala nights, entertainment, discos, the ladies' lunch, and all the other events that we've got planned. Mm-hmm. I don't know, Stanko, do you want to mention, should we mention our wonderful lottery that we've got?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
This year, we've been fortunate enough that as a major prize for our lottery, we're going to be giving away a car, a Mazda car worth of $35,000. So we really encourage over the next week, I believe the tickets will be coming out on our media platforms. So go to croatiaraiders.com.au. You'll see the tickets there, $50 per ticket. There's 1,200 tickets, so they're limited tickets. So be very quick to get your ticket to snap up a car, which is very exciting.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent. Fly to Adelaide and drive back with your Mazda.
Yes.
That's all right. Excellent. Well, guys, thank you so much for being a part of tonight's show. We hopefully will catch up with you guys maybe in a couple of months just to get a bit of an update as well as we get closer and closer to the tournament. But just to remind us all the dates of the actual tournament itself.
So we'll be starting the 28th of September, which will be the Thursday, and we'll be concluding on the Sunday, which will be the 1st of October. So it's a 4-day event. As soon as we get everyone's registration, we'll send out more information across that.
Fantastic.
And I just want to end off with, I think one major thing that we forgot to mention is first time ever in tournament history, on the Thursday night, we're going to have 6 games playing under lights.
Wow.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
wow.
Really, how good is that to really start? Used to be
opening ceremony and the 6 games. That's brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, it's the opening ceremony on the Thursday night or the Friday.
It is. It is on
Thursday
Thursday night.
Brilliant. Excellent. Awesome. That is great news. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us tonight on the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Like I said, wishing you all the very best for the tournament and the months leading up to it. And we'll definitely catch up with you in the next few months.
Definitely.
Thank you, boys, and great work on the show.
Good on you.
Thank you, Stanko. Thank you, Stella. Thank you so much.
Awesome. That was Stella SPOLJAR and Stanko Žilić, both from the Adelaide tournament organising committee. And
lovely people.
Absolutely
the tournament's
fantastic.
In good hands.
It is. And look, every time I've been to Adelaide, I haven't been to Adelaide for a long time, so maybe a trip over there is overdue. But I have had an absolutely fantastic time because the Adelaide Croatian community, I love all the Croatian communities around Australia, but they are certainly, a level above when it comes to being hospitable and to everyone from interstate. So we look forward to what should be an absolute fantastic tournament. There's a couple of, in the comments section, we've got a couple of links there. The website, follow the link for accommodation, and there's also Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The handle there, simply search for CSTADL2023. That brings us to the end of the show.
If you want the tie, I'll wear the tie.
Maybe next week or next Thursday, folks. We will be coming to you not on Wednesday, but next Thursday. In the meantime, a lot of games being played both overseas and locally as well. And do get yourself out to that big Australia Cup clash next Wednesday, and also the big Gold Coast derby on the weekend as well. Gold Coast Knights may jump into top spot on the NPL Queensland ladder. Ante, thankfully Jetstar didn't leave you stranded for a second night, but bloody Jetstar. Yeah. What do you do?
What can you do? It happens.
It does happen. Thanks, mate, for all your help this so far this year. It's already been episode 8. Folks, thank you for being a part of tonight's show. Lots and lots of information, and we'll be actually cutting or editing that interview with Stella and Stanko, and you'll be able to watch that as well. In the meantime, have a great week, folks. Thank you for being a part of the Oz Cro Soccer Show. And we'll leave you with celebrations at the Rujevica Stadium in Rijeka as Hajduk Split took out the Croatian HNS Cup for the second year running. Good night, folks, and thank you once again.
Laku noć.
Laku noć.
I drugog izdanja Supersport Hrvatskog nogometnog kupa.